Check one, check two.
Yeah, I'm way down South Australia, so it's a big country for the population at least. But yeah, Adelaide, South Australia, one of the smaller cities, but not too small, but basically compared to Sydney and Melbourne, one of the smaller cities. Ever been to Australia?
No, I've never been there. It's interesting I'm talking to you because I've always seen these comments. I don't really believe them, but I've always seen these comments like Australia doesn't exist. Nobody's down there. I don't know if you've seen those. I'm sure you've seen them.
Oh,
Commenters are on the comment sections. There's some funny ass people there. I don't even know if most of these people that are on YouTube even exist. Honestly, they're the commenters. It's like robo. To me, there's a lot of robo comments.
Yeah, look, I'm not that much, in terms of digital inclined IT. I'm not that advanced, but I just shake my head. Some of the comments I see, some of what people put out there, and if it is for real or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's bizarre. But yeah, Australia definitely does exist. I can confirm.
That's good. Well, I mean, it exists as you're in another place. About like flat Earth or if you think it's a globe or you think it's a one, it seems to either be A, B, or there's another option. I think I'm not in any box.
You?
What
okay.
are your thoughts about that?
I'm a bit of a traditionalist glober, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not discounting other options, but to me, it's a sphere, it's a globe, or something similar to that. But there, simple as that. I don't know. I listen to the arguments. I try to.
From us?
Sorry.
You think somebody's hiding anything from us as far as because it seems kind of odd that they would let that go on to there be so many proofs that it's flat or maybe that's not the right way to say it. Maybe the right way to say it would be that everything that I've ever seen about it says that no matter what you think about the shape of the Earth, you can never prove that it's not flat. I don't know if you ever heard that. They said that you could not prove that it was not flat.
Okay, I haven't heard that one.
Like scientifically, anyway. They can show you fake photos or whatever you want to think about that. But there's even people who have done the experiments that basically said that you can't prove that that there's curve. Like how can you prove there's curve? There's no proof there's curve. So to me, it's like I guess I'm in box C. I don't think that it's necessarily flat. I don't think that it's necessarily. It's definitely not the shape they tell us it is. As far as the meters per square inch, curve.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, you certainly don't buy. I'm assuming you don't buy the videos NASA or any other.
I haven't seen any videos
from outer space.
I mean, I haven't seen any videos. No, I don't buy space at all whatsoever. Zero. Yeah. No way. Okay. No, not possible. And the funny thing is, it's one thing I want to talk to you about because I haven't really got on YouTube too much. So I guess I'll post this if you're okay with that. But I was flying in a plane. Me and my wife went to a wedding in New Jersey last week, and we were flying home on a plane, obviously, on around the time of dusk. And I turned to my wife and I said, I don't know if this is proof that it's flat or not flat, but so you're flying. I'm trying to see if I can get this for you. So you're flying here, right?
Yeah.
You're on I don't have a ball. Shit, I don't have a ball, but I have this. So if you're flying here, and here's say this is a ball, right? And you're flying on this side. Say you're over here, right? Say this is the side you're on. The sun is coming from. Say it's over here, right? So it's shining on a ball coming this way, right? And I'm on the ball over here, right? The sun's this way, so it's opposite side. The clouds always have light on top of them, and to me, I go, it can't be. You can't have clouds on the top on this side of the Earth when the sun is over here. How can the light be on the top of the clouds this way, and on this way, and on that way, and on that way? You never really, or I've never seen any pictures of sun on top or on the sides of a cloud. Like if it comes from this way, right? You would expect that the sun would be here, the clouds would be here. But if you're on this side of it at dusk, how can the sun be coming from this way on the back side of it? And I'm looking at the window and I'm going, this is incredible. Like this is something that I don't even know how to explain to people who, if you've been in a plane and you've seen that, you've seen a dusk or you've seen a dawn, on the other side of the shape of what we're being told, there's sun coming in. There's no sun coming in from there. The sun's on the other side of the horizon, I guess is what you could call it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever noticed that.
I suppose it's been a while since I've been in a plane myself, but I suppose I'd have to, have to observe it and actually consciously.
You can also observe it outside. Like if it's a cloudy day, say there's a dusk and the sun is setting on the horizon on one side, look to the opposite side, because I looked at it today and I saw the same thing. There's never a sun coming in from the same side. It's always coming from the top. No matter what, the clouds could be, you can see 30, 40 miles away. The clouds are up top, and the clouds are always reflecting the sun behind it, and your sun's over here. And I'm going, well, I don't know how that works. I mean, you can see. I'm sure they'll come up with something that says it's some kind of refraction or whatever. I really can't explain that. But
scale of size, just sheer. I mean, obviously it's a.
But if there's my point is if there's a curve, you can't be on. The sun can't come from one side of the curve and illuminate just the top of the back side of the other curve.
Sure.
It's not possible. Like as far as what were explained to us.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something unusual that I just noticed last week.
Yeah. Something worth observing. I mean, I suppose you talk about looking at the sky, clouds, and what I've observed, or what I do observe, is you don't see clouds just, if you look above your head and then you look into the distance, you don't see them disappearing into the distance. You see, if it's a cloudy day, obviously, you see them generally I see them in the horizon. So you don't, if it was flat, you would expect to see gradually receding clouds disappearing into the distance, but you don't sort of see that.
You see it kind of come down, but it's like a bridge. It's like a large bridge. You've seen some of the flat Earth videos that you see a bridge kind of converge, and they show you as you're driving in. It's like the convergence is an optical. It's not an optical illusion. It's just perspective of how we see it. And again, I would love for somebody to explain, how some of these things are easily disproven. Flat Earth should be so easily disproven. It's insane. It should be so easily disproven. It's not even funny, right?
That is true.
And the fact that you can look it up online. There's not a single photo of the Earth online. A photo, not an image. A photo, and an image is a doctored representation. It's not a photo, and they're quick to really show you the terminology differences in those things. So that's kind of an interesting. It's an interesting fact that you can't find one.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, like I said, I tend towards globe, but I'm not. Yeah, I haven't completely discounted flat Earth, so I'm willing to listen. But yeah, I mean, there's other things too that the argument. I don't know if it is an argument that, again, think about the plane. That if it was a globe, a plane would have to keep basically tilting down, which is not the case actually when you think about it. If you're moving parallel to a curved surface, you're always going to be moving around the surface,
right? Fixed
distance. So the plane does not need to tilt down; it's just flying parallel to the surface.
But you would also think that there should be some kind of a level to. I mean, the plane's not doing this as it's coming down, right? I mean, or it's flying. It's not doing this. It's always staying ground level or elevated level, and that's how they're done. So if it's curving, eventually you would think it'd have to. I mean, at some point, I guess it's not going fast enough. But if you're into like something going Mach 2 or Mach 1, you would definitely have to adjust. I would think you have to adjust. How could you not going, thousands of miles an hour?
Yeah, well, if it's a fixed height, which is a fixed distance in effect, then you're still moving parallel. It's like I don't know, you get a basketball or something and a fixed stick, along it, move it along the surface. It's a fixed. It's just moving parallel to the surface. Anyway, well, that's the way I think about it. Anyway,
I guess the other thing that interests me is thinking about it, in terms of how you mentally perceive something. If it is this, right, and a plane's going at Mach 3, if you draw the straight line out, eventually you leave in the atmosphere. You're going to just keep rising through the atmosphere. If you were heading in a straight line, parallel to the surface of the Earth, at some point in time you would raise altitude, right? You have to like almost raise up, because if you're going straight out, if the Earth is 24,000 miles in circumference, you can say it's roughly, I don't know, 6,000 miles wide. If you're going from one side to the other side, if that's close to a box, it's 6,000 miles. If you're going at 2,000 miles an hour in 20 minutes roughly, you're gonna be raising altitude based on the ground level of where you're at.
Right.
I mean, that's just perspective. So
yeah.
I don't pretend to know a whole lot about anything, but the thing that I keep coming back to is when I woke up like 5 years ago, the first thing that I realized is that everything in a book is relatively speaking is acceptable truth, but it doesn't mean it's true. If you regurgitate something in school, you get an A. You don't get an A for thinking. You don't get an A for questioning, and that's kind of what
Absolutely.
Science is. Science is supposed to be repeatable and provable. So it's difficult to actually do a scientific experiment when we want to disprove something, and then we want to disprove something that's supposed to be not fact.
Correct.
Conspiracy theorists or whatever you want to call those people. But every single thing in science has been disproven or been altered or been proven true now was a conspiracy back then, or at that time.
Correct.
I think it's pretty misunderstood about how that works.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been one of the things I've been enjoying listening to is Donald Huffman's discussions of Donald Huffman around the space-time as a fundamental is no longer. He said it's doomed, and I listened to some of his podcasts and find it absolutely fascinating. And he's talking about advanced mathematics, where it's basically proving geometries or existence outside of space-time. And he's making the valid points that at the smallest level, the Planck distance and Planck time, it's finite. So you get to the point where it basically it's no longer valid. Everything breaks down. So how can it be fundamental? And as he pointed out, 100 or so years ago, God bless Einstein and the other great physicians who were lauded for their groundbreaking theories of relativity, which is fine. But now, and he's obviously, I wouldn't say he's on his own, but he doesn't have too many supporters because it's quite a radical, conversion of what has been considered gospel in terms of from a science community. So absolutely fascinating.
Who are your favorite people to watch on YouTube? I mean, and any particular reason behind it? Just curious.
Oh, just YouTube generally.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my. I'm trying to remember the name. So who I've been listening to a lot lately is Next Level Soul podcast. Have you watched
Alex?
a lot of Alex?
Alex. Yeah.
Alex. Yeah. He's got some really interesting guests.
Yes, he does.
So I like what he's got out. Other than that, I'm trying to think who else do I watch pretty frequently. Ben Smith, the guy that Chad interviewed a couple of times. He's got some good stuff in meditation. He's pretty low key and laid back. There's an interesting one, wisdom nuggets. You just seen wisdom nuggets.
Seen that one. Nope.
They put out some really really cool sort of messaging around spirituality. Get the right word. They're pretty short, but it's pretty good. Who else? Just looking at my the Y files.
Yeah,
Seeing Y
yeah.
files.
I have an interesting background story on those. How long have you been watching the Y-Files for?
At least a year or two, over a year. Yeah. Get some
I think I
pretty
started probably about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and he didn't
okay.
have that many subs. He maybe had like 100,000 or something when I started watching him, and I started noticing an odd couple of things. So, first of all, I believe that guy's CIA. I think there's almost no doubt in my mind he's CIA. He was on Joe Rogan one time, and he puts that in his bio, and he literally was a guest appearance on Joe Rogan and didn't say a damn thing. Was never anyone before Joe Rogan. So to be on the show was kind of like, why is he there? And that show is absolutely incredibly well produced. It's way too well produced for somebody who's average, a self-described actor who
Yeah.
really hasn't done anything in acting. So I'm pretty sure he's CIA. But I noticed one thing as I'm watching those, and again, great show, entertainment-wise, no problem with him or the show. But
Yeah.
I noticed a very common theme in every single show. He talks about conspiracies, and then he talks
Debunks
about
it.
how they're pro to them. So he speaks to the theory, and then
Yep.
every single time he discredits it.
Yep.
It's like, and then everybody's left like going, oh,
I've
So
noticed that.
it's a very controlled opposition,
Yep.
100%. Again,
Yep.
good show. Like I enjoy it for the um for the broadcast. But I think most people who watch YouTube are not researchers. They're not interested in finding out who this guy is or what his angle is, how he
Yep.
has this kind of production level, and now he's got, I don't know, 5 million subs or whatever. I mean, he gets 1 million views in like less than like 2 hours. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. His Patreon supporters are just like 10 pages of like supporters. He's probably making 100 grand a month, like just on just the amount of Patreon and stuff. It's insane. So to me, watching those guys get promoted, I go, there's just, if you can't see through the veil of controlled opposition, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think people should be awake to that, to at least know that that's the case.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've noticed that too, what you're pointing out about the debunking, but with just enough sprinklings of
the truth,
recognition or apparent truth, just to sort of keep it interesting. And as you say, it's entertaining, but I'll,
it is. And now he's on. And now he's on. What is he on now? There's another major. Oh, he's on Amazon Prime. He's at an Amazon Prime show like Ancient Aliens now. So like the amount of backing this guy's had from the beginning is insane. Like there's no way a small podcaster could do that and make it look that good.
That's a good point. Aaron Epke's the other one that I've frequent.
Who's that? Oh, Aaron Apke. Love him. Love him. Yeah, I think he's phenomenal. Yeah, I love talking to him.
Miracles. Yeah, he's good value. So that's probably sprinklings
of this. I saw you commented on Tony Sayers. I'm not sure how the algorithm works. I don't have anything against Tony Sayers. I think my main complaint with people who do the soul trap stuff is they don't seem to evolve their thinking. It's always the same thing. I had Howdy on with Chad, and it's always the same thing. It's always, well, it can't be a school, so it has to be a soul trap. And then I don't understand that philosophy, because there are more than one option for that. My personal opinion is everything comes back to detachment. And it's kind of an odd way to say it about what my belief is, that why we're here. We're here to experience life. We're here to learn. Yes, but it's not a school. In my opinion, it's not brought up for that. I'm not saying that that's not what it is, but if you're saying that it's not a school because your memory is wiped, then you're being really naive and ignorant to a lot of things. And number one is, if that's not it, then why are you sitting there? Why are you parking your car at the not a school soul trap thing? Like if you're not here for the experience, then just stay at home and don't say anything. Like that's how I feel. And I think that Tony's in that boat where I don't want to. I'm not knocking him, but like you should evolve your theories to encompass something at least positive about life or about your journey. if you're a Buddhist and you are a solipsism person and you consider those things about the Buddha sitting under the tree and understanding what is the purpose of life, those things. Once you eventually back away from the reason that you're under that tree is not to feel enlightened or be enlightened. Once you get to the next level and you realize that if you are here and if this is some kind of a school, a trap, whatever you think it is, no matter what it is, at some point in time you have to realize and go, well, I guess I'm here. Might as well make the best of it. So then you formulate your attitude to not being a victim, and just
Totally.
at least go somewhere with it. Like that's my whole complaint with the Soul Trap guys is that they park their car right there and they're not leaving. And how is that improving your life or anyone else's life? It makes no sense to me. So cut the Soul Trap crap out and move your car in the right direction.
Yeah, totally with you. I have to admit I struggle. I watch, and obviously it's my choice to watch these videos or not, but I can only watch so much of that sort of victim mentality. It's sort of get to the point, and with all respect, sometimes even with Eric Dubay, the other video where I think it was the same video with it was a separate video that Chad put out with Eric.
Chad put on, yep.
Yeah, it's a separate video where he was commenting on separate video with Eric, and it's sometimes it's sort of like watching one of my nephews, toddler 6 or 7, having a bit of a tantrum, complaining about this and that, and why can't kind of have this, and I don't like that experience, and it's like, make it work. It's it's tough, and it can be tough, but basically get up and be active, be proactive.
Do you watch,
deal with the challenges that life gives you. It's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with it. That sort of mentality. We've all had tough experiences. I have, for various scenarios. I look back at a lot of those scenarios and say, well, I didn't like it at the time, but I grew through it and move on. It and you point around the amnesia, the veil. I also agree that essentially, and I put it this way. By the way, I wasn't until relatively recently that I even believed in reincarnation, or at least believed or considered that as a possibility with my sort of Catholic upbringing. Up until a couple of years ago, I thought this is it. This is the one life. But I have more of a consideration towards reincarnation. And for me, the piece is that as we grow and develop over the various lifetimes, it becomes embedded in our essence. So we might forget about the details of our previous lives, but it's essentially every time we come back, if we are advancing, and learning, then we come back with that as part of our makeup, whether we are aware of it or not.
No, I agree 100%. I agree with everything you just said. Yep.
Yeah, and you can go the other way if you make poor choices, decisions. Mm-hmm. You can basically take the other path, and sort of as the law of one indicates, you can take the choice of service to yourself, and polarize more negatively. That is a choice up to a point. But yeah, so like I said, I can only watch so much of the Soul Trap without, like you, sort of feeling like this is just basically
it's rubbish. Like you can only talk about it for so long. Like, are you going to just stay in your bed? I mean, for me, 5 years ago, I found that I had lupus markers, autoimmune issues, and it basically took my mother from me 15 years ago now. But so, falling into that trap and having a young son, I sat in my bed for a day or two, and I started contemplating my life and which direction it was going, and I felt sorry for myself, and and in the end, on about the third day or 2.5, 3, whatever day it was, I said, I've had enough of this. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done feeling sorry for myself, and it led me to where I consider a point in my life where I sat under the Buddhist tree. I sat under there. I thought everything was all make believe. I still consider that might be the illusion, the Maya. But in the end, I'm like, well, I'm here. Let's see if I can hack this thing. Let's see, how crazy this can get. And I'm telling you, it's gotten pretty damn crazy. Just reality and everything else. And I've talked about some of my experiences and some of the things that have happened, packages that have come to me in the mail
Yes.
that I didn't order, money that came to me, things that manifested and appeared in my own reality that came from absolutely nowhere. And I'm definitely a simulationist because of all the things that have happened.
Yeah.
But I also believe that I'm here for the experience, and that I'm not
Absolutely.
going to be a victim to whatever happens to me. They're all going to be messages for me. And I know Ola Walney's going to say I'm polishing the bars in my prison, but I think that they're really missing the entire point of this. Because in the end, all you have is your experiences and how you deal with them.
That's
Do
right.
you watch Jason of Archaics? Do you watch his simulated his field?
No, no. I because I think did Chad interview
Chad's
Jason?
had him on
He
twice.
did.
I don't know if
That,
he's going to come back on Chad's channel, and I'm not going to spill the beans. But I did talk to Jason for a second when he came to Tampa, and he just basically mentioned that Chad was stuck on Tom Campbell and his My Big Toe
yeah,
and stuff. And
yeah,
I don't think Jason feels like it's a. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but maybe it's you're talking to the Soul Trap guy about Soul Trap, and hey, have you considered this? And they go, no, I don't want to consider that. And you're like, why not? Why
yes,
wouldn't you? So anyway,
yeah,
Jason talks a lot about history, but I agree with Jason on a couple different factors, and the main factor being that we have an informed field. You can call it an aura, you can call it a Akashic field, or whatever you want to call it, but it is an information field, whether it's our essence or whether it's in a magnetized version, a few inches, a foot outside of our bodies, or whatever it is, a field. That if we don't buy into that information coming to us, it will almost never affect us. And I believe that with COVID, I've had people that got sick, through that, but I never even entertained that it would even happen to me as far as that's concerned.
sure,
And my wife got, sick for 2 days, and I got sick for 2 days, and my son lost his voice for like a couple days, but I wasn't even entertaining anything besides that.
yes,
It was a flu-like symptoms, and that was my experience that happened to me. So if YouTube's gonna pay attention to that, it's part of their platform, that I can talk about my experiences without getting a strike. So
sure.
those are my experiences. I'm not going to talk about the generalized term, but I do believe that we entertain those things that we will affect our placebo, our environment that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not specifically around Jason's theory, but I mean, I've had over the past couple of years, as I've become down more the spiritual path, so to speak, a few synchronicities and personal experiences. Whether or not it plays into that particular theory or not, but I've had a few interesting experiences too, which I'm happy to share a couple of those if you're interested.
Yeah,
But
go for it.
so I mean, what I noticed
What's the
as I
crazy things that are happening to you? Can you start with that one?
yeah, interesting, yeah, a couple of interesting little scenarios or stories. I suppose what I first started noticing was things like the numbers, the 111s and so on, repeatedly over periods. So it will happen over a period, and then not, whether it's seeing it on the clock or just random, things on YouTube, whatever you see the numbers, typically ones. Then there was a period where, and I've got here in Australia, I've got a reasonably sized, block or black backyard, and I go into the backyard and I'd see feathers stuck in the ground upright,
Hmm.
like just not just sort of laying there, but actually physically stuck in the grass or in pavers, which it's a bit odd for
Yeah.
that. Pretty hard for that to happen randomly. And I checked with my family, and they said no, they haven't put it there. So, and this is at a time when I was starting to communicate with my spirit guides and talk to them through meditation and the like, which I thought was sort of interesting. And then once I thought, right, I'm gonna see if I can communicate properly to my spirit guide, and uh, one night I said, okay, right, it's a bit of a test. I messaged to I said to my spirit guide, if you can hear me, I'm just going to put it out there in terms of giving me a sign around numbers. And I instantly thought of the numbers 7-2, and the reason why 7-2 is because my birth date is 7th of February 1972, which here in Australia at least is 7-2-7-2. I know in America it's probably the other way around, but here it's 7-2-7-2. So 7-2 it's got a bit of a thing with me. That's just a number I randomly thought of, 7-2. So went to bed as usual. The next morning, it was a weekend. I didn't even think about it, the next day, at least in the morning. And I went for a drive later that morning, and one of the first roundabouts I come across, there was a car in front of me, and I've got one of these habits, things you do, that I look at number plates. I'm an engineer. I like numbers, and the back number plate on this car was, guess what, 072. Had the letters, and the first number was 72. First number plate I saw. So you tell me. I mean, that's a pretty amazing coincidence for that number to come up straight away. So I thought that was pretty incredible. But I've had a few others since then that pop up here and there. But even because I try and appreciate nature as much as I like. I think it was last year, a year before, I sort of stepped outside of the backyard, and on the bench, the garden bench, there was this leaf sitting there on its own, got it under a big tree, and the shape of the leaf was a love heart, like stood out as a love heart. Now, I thought, oh, that's interesting, and I thought it was pretty. I gave it to one of my daughters, and I tried to find another leaf with the same shape amongst literally hundreds of leaves in the backyard. Nothing even came close to looking similar to that one leaf that happened to have a love-hate shape sitting there on the bench on its own. So anyway, you can either think and say, oh, this guy's crazy, he's just making stuff up. But, to me, it's keeping aware and awake to the signs. Again, could be coincidence, but they could also be signs too.
You think you could be creating that, or you think it's just something that you're noticing or you're seeing? Because I'm on the blank that I think that we are actually creating it. I think everything is in our field is actually being created. Something happened to me about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, but I was watching a video on YouTube, and somebody was saying something about, they don't see, butterflies or certain things. And I said, man, I haven't seen a butterfly in like forever. And the next morning I was walking my dog at like 6 a.m. to the dog park, and there was not only a butterfly on the ground, it was dead. I'd never seen a dead butterfly. And there was just sitting right by the dog park entrance. And he was, big butterfly, beautiful looking. And I picked him up, I put him on a piece of paper, and I brought it home to my wife, and I said, we were just talking about we don't see butterflies, and here's one that's dead on the ground the very next morning. So I'm with you. I think we create these things.
When you say we create it, are you talking about a higher self type level of creation, or are you talking about?
I think it's simulated somehow, some way. I mean, everything in matter is energy. Everything. I have a lot of theories, and I just play with them. Some of them come to my intuition. Some of them come to me through my dreams. I had a dream probably about 2 months ago that there were 7 streams of consciousness that are coming into us, and that we perceive 7 consciousness streams, and one is like they're broken up into, and I don't have like how it works, but they're broken up into be like nature is one stream, and like other people are another stream, and they're like 7 video monitors, kind of like video streams coming into our perceptions, and that's how all these Mandela effect things kind of are patched through, because one could change, and then but there's 6 still in our reality that are still left. So I don't know if like our environment is one, or like there's another stream. I don't know if the streams affect our senses. Maybe they're the seven senses. There's six senses, but there's also a seventh sense that could be undetectable. Maybe like a Akashic stream or something of information coming in. I don't know how it all works, but there I'll say there are seven streams of consciousness that play into our reality, and nothing is actual physical. It's not physical. Everything's moving. So I'm not sure how that exactly works. I try to look at it and meditate on it and pray on it and to my higher self or whoever I'm praying to. But I seem to get answers that I look for, not just in my physical reality, but also in my intuition as well. That tells me what I believe. Like you mentioned Eric Dubay. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this to see that, but there's a Eric Dubay video. I think it's probably about a month or two old, and it's the Gnostic creation story. And I really believe it changed my life. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, when I watched it, everything made sense. All these soul trap people that are Gnostics, and I follow some of the Gnosticism as well. I think maybe I was a Gnostic in a different life. I don't know where I was or who I was, but just seems like it explains everything that the monad or the ultimate creator, the source creator, created Sophia or another aeon, and this aeon birthed the demiurge Yaldabaoth, and Yaldabaoth created the earth. And when he tried to make his own creation come alive and be his own creation with animals and beings, human beings, whatever that it was, it didn't work. And so Sophia touched down into divine intervention, basically, and made humanity divine and with soul and with purpose. And that's why you see, or it makes sense to me for sure that this world is made up of a creation that maybe is not a loving and benevolent creation, but that there is divine creation and divine love in this creation. And that's how I think that it works. Right. Because when you have, and we can go into the NPC conversation in a second if you want, but I don't believe that we're all here. I don't believe that everyone that you see here, every human, has divine intervention, has divine soul, divine spark. And so I think that's playing into the fact too of there's some evil, or there's some malintent here. And then there's also some people who have quite a bit of empathy and they're divine beings, and they wish to do no harm. They just wish to evolve and live and love. And those two things are at play. So when I saw that video that he made, I said, if this is really the story of the Gnostic creation, I'm in. Like that is the only thing that makes sense to me, is that this world is not exactly love and light, but it's also not a soul trap as well. The victim mentality only plays into that divine light that we carry if you allow it to do that.
Yes, interesting. I'll have to check that out. The point about non-player character, it's one of those that I'm sort of on the fence. I'm not sure. It would be the NPC thing would be a way of explaining why I suppose some people we interact with or observe seem to be completely
on another planet.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah, nothing affects them. Nothing. Those are the things that I see too. You can tell them something and they're like no, and you're like, what do you mean no? What in the hell are you doing with that mask inside of your car? Like what? Like, and if you ask them what they're thinking, they don't even have an answer for that. That's really the part that gets me the most, is that there's no dialogue going on inside their heads. There's no philosophy there at all.
Yeah, I just I suppose the other way of looking at it is that they're just so far into the materiality of this life that they wouldn't even consider anything beyond the physical realm. That hasn't even, they don't even ask the question or challenge as to the why and the what. So, like I said, not ruling out NPCs, but it's just maybe just part of the spectrum of those essence or souls that have advanced and those that haven't even
Absolutely,
really begun the
could
journey.
be. Yep, could be. And I'm not ruling it out either. And I don't treat people without empathy because I think that there's nobody in there. But it seems to just explain so much about the creation of this reality, this world. And like I said, I watched that Gnostic creation story, and I was like, huh, okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Like
Yes.
the Maya, the illusion, the everything, the non-player character. Well, they don't call it non-player character; they would call him an empty vessel or something like that. But again, if you were a scientist, you tried to create a human being, and you could get them to grow and have two eyes, two ears, a nose, a mouth, a heart, kidney, all the right organs, but like they turned out like, I don't know, you ever watch the Damien Omen movies, and there's a kid without any emotion in there, and he's like the devil almost, like he's totally he's emotionless, like that sounds like how some of these people are acting. So I don't know. I think if you did a survey and you asked people who you just asked 100 people, what their belief is. Do you believe in God? Do you believe you have a soul? I think you would find a good majority of those people would say, not only do I not believe in God, but if you said you have a soul, they would say no. And then I come back and go, well, who am I to argue with them? Like, why am I arguing on behalf of someone else? Like,
Yes.
they should know more than I would know about than I can perceive.
That's right.
But the Mandela effect and the deer on the headlights thing is just it flabbergasts me. I look for an explanation for that, and I can't. So now I find this explanation. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to run with this. I'm not doing the soul trap thing where I park my car. I'm going to keep evolving. My not only what I want to evolve as far as my consciousness is, and my empathy and my love for humanity and life and whatever it might be, but like I have to continually upgrade a theory or my consciousness, or what am I doing here? Like I just log me out right now. I don't know why I would want to stay.
Yeah, totally. Like I said, if I look back, 5 to 10 years ago, I do believe I say I'm the same person, of course, but in terms of my way of thinking, how I handle situations is different. Hopefully, I'd like to think it's more advanced, more mature, but it's definitely
It's
changed
different, right? It's
through
different.
experiences, reflections. Yeah, and part of that may well be the fact that I have been, not just me, myself and wife, been raising some young humans as they
Yeah,
grow
yeah,
through, and that's again experience in its own right. And you mentioned you've got a son. How does that change you? Hopefully for I would think for the better, but
absolutely. Yeah,
it's never it's not always easy, and you have your you have your rough moments, but it's how you handle those situations and take the good with bad.
yep. I have two sons.
I have two sons.
Just so my other one, if his friends are watching eventually, or one of his friends in the other room, he watches the show, and he I had two, so I have a 23 and a 9-year-old. So just to
Okay.
make that clear, but yeah, I mean, you try to find things in life that you enjoy. And parenthood is not always easy, but it is rewarding.
No,
You wouldn't change it for anything. At least I wouldn't.
absolutely.
Um, and it's a lot about life. I wouldn't change my struggles for anything, even though in the moment I don't want to deal with this. But when it passes, you're like, I guess that was something made me stronger, or without struggle, I don't think you can actually grow. I don't think you can evolve. I don't think it's possible, to be honest. I don't know how anyone could think that it's possible to evolve without struggle, without consequence, or without intention.
Totally agree. I I think back to a situation, well, just about 10 years ago now, when I was made redundant from my job in a reasonably well-paying job. I'd started to sort of advance into sort of leadership positions, and I probably subconsciously thought that it was going to not last forever, but what could go wrong, sort of thing, subconsciously. But long story short, I was made redundant, and yeah, young family. It was terrible at the time, obviously, trying to find new work and damage to your self-esteem and all that sort of stuff. But I look back now, and it was probably the best thing that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
The business at the time had its own issues, and culture wasn't great. I was going through some health issues too, which I believe was a lot of it was driven by a lot of stress through the job. But like I said, I look back now, and it was the right thing for me. I just didn't know at the time. So those sort of examples where, as you say, it's part of growth. It's part of
It's part of
new
life. I mean,
situation.
it's part of
It's
life. You can look at it
absolutely
one way or another. I think that your mentality that you almost treat it as a blessing actually changes your outlook on the future of how you will view things. And that's what evolution is. That's what our evolving is that no matter what happens, it's not only making you stronger necessarily. I don't want it to be like a cliche, but I mean it's making you stronger because you know how to come out on the other side of it. You've
yes,
gone through it and you've succeeded, and your mental health is actually probably stronger for it as well. So
absolutely, yeah, totally agree. Very good.
this is awesome, man. I appreciate you talking. We definitely have to do this again. I
Absolutely,
want to
Ken.
kind of keep it under an hour, but I want to do a water challenge. I want to put this up on the channel. I'm not sure who's going to see it or whatever. Am I okay to put on the channel? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine, Ken. Yeah, I mean,
You didn't say anything crazy. You won't get in trouble.
no, no. Well, that's good to know. Well, look, I'm not this. I this will be my first probably live video on YouTube for what it's worth. Look, I'm just a regular. Thank you. I'm just a regular guy, so to
We're
speak.
all
So
regular guys, man, trying to figure this thing out.
that absolutely. So
I will tell you that I sent an email to someone about 6 months ago, and he said, "Oh, I'd love to come on and talk." This is the third time I've sent an email to somebody. The first time was another YouTuber, smaller YouTuber, said he'd love to have a chat, and we emailed. He was supposed to come on one night, like about a year ago, whatever, and he ghosted me, and I haven't received an email from him since. Unbelievable. He posts every once in a while, but I just don't understand it. And then about 6 months ago, somebody else said, "I'll pay you to come on your channel to talk." And I said, "Great, I'd
right,
love to just chat." Nothing.
yeah,
Oh, I can't do it because I don't want to be on YouTube. I said, "Well, how am I going to get you on my channel if you can't be on YouTube?" So I'm going to do a water bucket challenge. There's two other guys I want to talk to that are in Chad's comment section. So if you're listening, I'm water bucket challenging Skip Sharp and
skip.
Josh Carpenter. So
Ah,
I'm water bucketing you guys, and I want to talk to each of you, both of you, and then maybe at the end of this month, end of July or something, we'll all come back on and do like a Discord.
absolutely. Yeah, no, those two names you mentioned certainly have seen them as frequenters of
Of the comment section in Chad's channel. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll be up for it to have a chat
Awesome.
with the
Well,
others. And
stay tuned.
yeah, no, look, I'm a kind of person that if I make a commitment, I do my best to stick to it. And so I'm fail safe, but we all make mistakes or miss things. But no, I really appreciate all you do, Ken, and your messaging through your channels and your basically, like, I think all of us are on the same sort of path or journey to keep exploring, keep questioning, keep challenging.
I
Why
hope so.
not?
I hope we can all keep doing this because I the option is to stop looking through stuff and to stop exploring. And I think you have a great attitude, man. I really didn't know how this conversation was going to go. I think we're very similar aside from the globe thing, I guess. And I don't really discount the globe thing. I just think everybody's a liar that's out there in reality. So why would I believe that? I guess is the best way for me to put it. But
Sure.
Your mentality is spot on, brother. I think
Thank you.
you're searching for answers in the right ways, and
Thank you.
I certainly am as well. So
Absolutely.
we'll have to do it
Absolutely.
again very soon. Even if I don't get Skip and Josh to come back on here, we'll be together in the next few weeks. So if
I
you
look
have
forward.
anything you want to talk about or anything you want to comment on, just definitely write it down or email me, and we can put it on the agenda for next time. It'd be great.
Sounds like a plan, Ken, and thank you for welcoming me to your channel. It's great to be here, and all the best.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. You too.
Take care.
We'll talk soon. All right. Take
Sounds
care.
good. Thank you. Thanks very
Bye.
much. Bye-bye.